And isn't it something how those lambs just seem to outgrow those kids right off the bat, and they stay bigger the whole way through. Here's one. Well, you can't see it, but the afterbirth right there on the ground by her. So you know they're not very old. And they're probably as big as any of the kids we got born in this pasture. See if I can find some. Well, there's some that's just born. Yeah, I'd say they start out maybe almost half the size, body weight wise, as a lamb does. And the nannies are lighter than most of our ewes, that's for sure. So you got to consider they eat less feed. So it really kind of depends what kind of pasture you have. Do you want goats or do you want sheep? So we have some brush in this pasture, but then there's a considerable amount of just fescue grass here. And the goats are much better at using the brush than the ewes are, that's for sure. The ewes will eat some. Here's a set. And those lambs, they just get up and they travel so much quicker, just right off the bat. These guys, it'll be a while before they're up and going. Well, like if you could, maybe you'd want them to be up better than that if you were rotating pasture. Now this pasture, we just set stock for a short period of time. Like, well, they've been on here about 2 weeks. We'll go probably another week and we'll start opening the gate and letting them drift on out to the next pasture. But you're just not going to drive those kids like that that's just born there. You're not going to drive them for a week or two, really, very, very much. We better drive on, leave them alone. Yeah, there's another set that's just born. Good day to be born on, my goodness. It's probably about 70, 75 degrees here this afternoon. Just perfect. Those lambs, if you was going to catch them, no, we don't catch anybody to tag them or do anything like that. But if you were, you'd have to catch them, well, first few hours of their birth, I mean, because they're up and moving. But we don't catch anybody, tag them, do any of that. We just make a ride through them to make sure nobody's having some kind of problem, kidney problem, something that I can help with. There, looks like a set of triplets. I feel like they're doing okay. Looks like they're all up, dried off. They're probably born a day or so ago. And we won't intervene and try to pull one of those off unless we see one that's not doing well. But no, we try to stay as hands off as possible. Once you reach an economically significant herd, and that takes quite a few, you understand, you really just won't have a whole lot of time just to, well, do the management that you used to when you just had, 100 or 200. And so you'll just become more hands-off. And part of that is just, well, the strong survive because you just can't be everywhere at once. So if I drive up and see one come off by itself, and then as soon as I see that she's got a kid or two up and sucking, doing okay, there's no need to get any closer. You're just gonna you could upset the whole family. Kids take off one way, nanny gets excited, takes off the other way. I used to tag and try to decide whose mom's who and put the tags in the kids' ears the same as their mom. And I tell you what, I'd get ones with the same number, and some didn't even belong to that nanny because it looked like it did, but it didn't. I'd tag a single when she really had a twin that was off hiding somewhere else. So it's really, I found it just wasn't worth the effort. Yeah, to be quite honest with you, most of the time when I come out, check these guys, I'm going to say I do as much or more for my own satisfaction than I do for them. They could really care less if I'm here or not. They were having babies way before we started intervening with them or helping them or whatever you might want to call it. And if they can't do it, well, if there's a malpresentation, you know, one coming backwards or leg pulled back or something, and that happens, which you can help with if you're there at the right time, but it's kind of rare. But so don't beat yourself up if you're not out, you know, staying up at nights, watching them. You know, if you're doing it when the weather's warm or whatever that is in your climate, here we like to start about 1st of May. There you shouldn't need much help. If you're doing it when it's colder, you better really have a good reason that you are. Some people do. They're registered breeders or doing it for 4-H or something. And I understand that. But, boy, it's a lot of work. Isn't this nice? Guard dog's even taking it easy. Yeah, it really is. Just don't get any better than this. Everything's going good. You don't have any problems, or at least anything you can't take care of. They're happy. So yeah, like I said, don't beat yourself up because maybe you lost one, you weren't there at the certain time it needed help, or something. You can't live with them. It's not profitable to start with. There's about 450 in this herd, and I'll ride out in here once a day, maybe twice if I got a grandkid that wants to come out and see them. They always like to come out. But quite honestly, I'm rarely here when one needs some kind of attention, and I wasn't here. That's just how it is. You're just probably not going to be here at just the right time to help them all. So do what's labor effective for you. I mean, some days we have a big day planned. This isn't the most important thing we got to do. Some days, yeah, we can come out here a couple times. But, you know, quite honestly, when I do come out here, there's nothing I'm doing besides riding around looking at them. And I'll find a dead one now and then. But hey, you know, it wasn't probably anything I could have done to start with. So yeah, just make it enjoyable for yourself. There's a reason goats have two at a time, and you can't save them all. Like I said, if you want to have an economically significant herd, you're not going to want to take the time to try to either. So you just will start when your herd's smaller and grow that herd with nannies that you don't have to help. And one of the things you can do by doing that is make sure you call those nannies that have a bad bag. By that I mean, if they got a bag that's so big and the teats are so big that the kid can't get on it, well then those kids are going to die. And you're just going to come out and find them dead, or else you're going to just have to get her and milk her out, spend a lot of labor and time with her. We try to find those and put a tag in her ear and get them to the sale. Excuse me. And really, that's the biggest thing you can help yourself there and help your herd, is to get rid of those problems before they're problems. That was probably, well, no, not probably, that was absolutely the biggest time suck, drain on our kidding season, was trying to take care of those because we didn't identify them early and get rid of them. And we still miss one or two once in a while. It's just hard to get them all. It's hard to see that bad bag when it's dried up. You need to identify those, put a tag in their ear when you're bringing them through to castrate them. They're in, first or middle of July. Do it then when that you can see those and you know and say, uh-oh, need to get rid of her before next kidding season. So that's, if you do that one thing, you will help yourself more than any other thing you can probably do during kidding season. Second thing would be to kid on green grass. Or if you're calving, calve on green grass. Like I said, maybe there's reasons that people have for kidding in January, February, or March, or whatever. That kind of depends where you're at. But you better have a good reason, because you're going to spend a lot more labor. And you're going to have a lot more facilities. We haven't had a single goat or lamb up in our little pens there in the barn, our little, we call them problem pens. We haven't had anybody up in there this year yet. I mean, we probably will. And maybe we should have, but, you know, it just all revolves around how much labor you got to devote to it and how valuable your labor resource is. So hey, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Enjoy the day. Beautiful weekend. Happy Mother's Day to you mothers out there. Thanks for tuning in. And, I never really say, but I guess I'm supposed to tell you to hit the like button or subscribe or do something like that for, I don't know, whatever reason. I figured if you like that, you like keeping up with what we're doing, and this is valuable to you, you're probably doing it anyway. Hey, I'll see you next time.